Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at stepwise refinement. So we're going to demonstrate a top-down approach to designing a program and applying a divide and conquer approach to breaking down a large problem into smaller problems that we can then put together to develop our large program. So the problem we're looking at is this, just displaying the calendar for a month. So it looks quite simple, but actually there's a lot of stuff going on here. So firstly, we have this bit here. So we have to get input from the user. And then the rest of this is displaying the calendar. But inside here, there's a lot going on. For example, all we're getting is the year and the number of the month. So we need to be able to convert from this number to June. How do we do that? Well, that's a part of the problem that we need to address. Next up, we're printing this calendar out in a particular format. We need to know what day the particular month starts on, because not every month is going to start on Sunday. Similarly, we need to know what day the month ends on, or in this case, how many days there are in the month. Because, you know, some have 30, some have 31. But then what about February? February has 28 or 29, depending on whether it's a leap year. So we need to be able to tell whether it's a leap year or not. As you can see, this problem looks simple on the outset, but there's actually a lot going on here. What we're going to do in this video is begin a top-down approach to developing this program. So let's jump over to Eclipse and get started. By the way, we're not going to get through the entire problem, I don't think, because it will probably take too long, but we'll get on the way. So let's create a new Java project, and I'll call this print calendar. And to this we'll add another class, also called print calendar. Okay, so what we're going to do is have a main method. And we're going to start working on the problem. So the first thing we had, remember, was getting the input. Getting the input is not too tricky. We're going to get this from the keyboard, and so we already know how to do this. We'll have a scanner input equals new scanner, reading from system.in, and then we can ask the user for their input, and we can get that pretty easily. So system.out.print, enter the year, and then we can have int year equals input.nextInt. We can do the same thing with the month. And then we really don't know what's going to happen next. Well, we don't know how to solve the problem, but all we know that we need to do at the moment is to print the month, print the calendar. So what we're going to do is have a method called print calendar and, well, sorry, print month, and then we'll deal with the details later. So public void print month, and this is going to accept an int for the year and an int for the month, because we don't want to have separate code for, you know, all possible scenarios here. We want a method that will print the month based on the information we give it. So what we're going to do is call print month with, oops, I got a capital P there, which I don't want, with the year and the month specified as parameters that we just read in. Oh, I should make this static. My bad. Okay, so we can run this, but nothing's going to happen. Enter the full year, 2011, enter the month, 11, and then our program finishes because print month doesn't actually do anything. So let's break this down a little bit further. Well, for start, let's put in a method stub. So it prints something, okay? So what we're going to have inside print month is system.out.print So now at least we get something happening. Okay, that's a good start. So what we need to do now is start breaking down our output into sub-problems so that we can address a bit more easily. So the first step, let me just clear that out. The first step in our print month is to this bit, print out the title. So what will this involve? Well, we need to figure out the name of the month. The year we already know. We need to know how long this word is so that we can get it centered. So we need to add some padding to the left there. So already there are a few things we need to do. Let's work down through these. So print month involves printing the title. And this is going to take a year as an int for the year and an int for the month. Okay. So now that we've got that, we know that we need to figure out the day, what day the month is. So we know that we're going to need a string to get the name of the month. And we can just put, just so this works, oops, we will just return January. We can work out the final implementation later, but at the moment, let's get something working. So what we are going to do in here, inside our print month title, for now, we're just going to do this. So now when we run our program, 2011, oh, I forgot to update this. What this should be doing now, our top level print month should be printing out the month title. Okay, so now when we run this, we're getting January 2011. It's not correct, but it's starting to look like the format we need. Okay, we can work out the details a bit later. The important thing is to get all the things, all the parts in place so that we can fill in the implementation of the methods, and gradually we build up the functionality. So let's back up a bit. We're back at print month now. We've printed out the title. What do we need to do next? Well, we need to print out the month body. So we need to print out the names of the days, and then we need to work out which day we start on, how many days there are in the month, which will then tell us what day we end on. So that, again, is a few problems that we need to address. So let's come back over here. Print month, once it's printed the month title, it's going to print the month body. So we're going to need a method for doing this. And, you know, it'll probably look like that, which means we can call this now. It doesn't do anything useful, but it's a start. So we need, what did we need to do? Well, we needed to know the starting day, the day that the month started on. So given the month and year, what day does that month start on? And we don't know that yet, and we don't know how to figure it out, but we could find out. So let's at the moment return 1, which is fine. How many days are in the month? Well, that really depends on what month it is and whether it's a leap year. So we might have public static int get number of days in month which would also have to take the year and the month, and this would return, you know, unless we're February, it would return the correct number. Okay, we'd figure it out. If it's February, then we'd need to know whether it was a leap year, so we'd have to deal with that. For the moment, let's get this working with January. So for now, we'll just return 31, and again, we'll work out the details later. The important thing is we get all the pieces of the puzzle in place, and then we can fill in the details after. But we know that we'll need a method that returns whether the year is a leap year. And we can just return true for now. So we have more or less all the pieces of the puzzle in place now. Not really as much detail as we need, but we're printing out the month body and the month title. Given we've broken this down such that we are solving the first problem, getting the input from the user, and then we're printing the month. We know that the print month method is going to have to print the title and the month body. To print the month title, we know that we need to get the month name. Okay? To print the month body, we know that we need to know what day the month starts on, how many days there are in the month, and we know to work out this, we need to tell whether it's a leap year or not. So, that's the basis of our program. What we can probably do now is start filling in some of these details. So, let's look at printing the month body. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's work out this one a bit better. What we're going to do, because we've almost got this done, is add some spaces here to kind of make it centered. And then we know that we're printing out the year. We know that we need to make this underlined. Oops. Just making sure this matches what I want it to look like. So we'll make this underlined, and then we're going to system.out.println. We know that we need to add the days. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So now when we run this, we can see that it's starting to look okay. We have this, the method title, starting to look like what we want it to. So now let's look at the method body. What do we need to do? Well, we need to know the starting day. And we know that we've got a method to do this, which takes in the year and the month. We need to know the number of days in the month. Get number of days in month. Okay. So that's a good start. What we need to do now is pad our printout based on what the starting day was. Okay? So what we're going to do is work out the padding. We're declaring I outside of the loop declaration so that we can use it afterwards, by the way. And what we're going to do is print out some padding. I think it's 4 that we need, but we can check that after. And then what we're going to do is print out the rest of the days. So we've printed out our padding, and now we're going to reinitialize I equal to 1. Less than or equal to the number of days in the month, I++. So what we need to do is print out the day that we're up to. So we're starting at the first day, which is 1, of course. What we're going to do is use printf so that we can get this padded nicely for us. So system.out.print. And the way we're going to do this is %4d. And the second parameter will, of course, be I. Next up, we have to figure out whether we need to jump down to a new line. So if I plus start day, oops, I need some more parentheses here. Modulo 7 equals 0. In other words, if it's the end of the week, we're going to system.out.println. So, this should be printf. So we're jumping down to a new line if we're at the end of the week, and then after our loop, we're going to have another empty print line statement. So let's run this now and see where we're getting. Okay, this is looking good. Now we've got our header printing correctly, although it's not getting the right data from the methods, but that's okay. And then we're printing out our month, and it's looking correct because you know that we've hard-coded the starting day to be 1, which is Monday. So it's starting here, and we know that we've hard-coded the number of days to be 31. So this is starting to look very good. The only thing left to do now is make the last few methods return the correct information. But our print method body, all done. All that's left now is the little details like the start of the day and the number of days in the month. So, and we should probably fix up the month name. We can do this very easily with a switch statement. So, let's switch the month and case 1. Actually, what we might do outside the switch, we will have a string month name. So what we're going to do here is, actually we can do this all on one line. Month name equals January break. And we're going to do this for all of the months. So if it's the second month, we're going to return February. And then just to make our lives a bit easier, I'm going to cheat. And here's some I prepared earlier. I'll just get Eclipse to fix up the indentation here. So now, outside of this switch statement, we can return the month name. So now, am I in the wrong spot? Oh, I forgot to initialize it. I thought I did that. Okay, so now we're going to return the month name correctly. So now when we run this, I'm going to have to pull this up a bit. Now we're actually getting the correct month name. So when I entered 11, we get November. So we're starting to get there. We're so close. I know this video is running longer than it normally would, but we're so close. What's next that we need to implement? Well, we need to figure out the get starting day. Now, this is actually quite complicated. There's a bit of an algorithm involved. So I'm actually just going to cheat a little bit, and then we'll discuss it. So here's the code for the starting day. So we have a hard-coded, a final int. So the starting day for January 1, 1800 was 3, okay? That's hard-coded. Next, we have to know the total number of days in that month. So I'm missing a method. Oops. Let's put that in now. And for now, let's just return something crazy like that, so that this works. Of course, I need to specify that our parameters are both ints. Okay, so now this is working again. So we get the total number of days, and then the starting day is the total number of days plus whatever the starting day was for January 1st, 1800, and then modulo 7 because there are 7 days in a week. So this is a formula that works for getting any day of the week based on, well, from that point, really. So, what about the total number of days? Well, the total number of days is going to be 365 or 366 if it's a leap year. But it's not the total number of days for a particular year, it's the total number of days since January 1st, 1800. So what we need to do is, if we come down to get total number of days, let's get rid of that and do some coding. So int total, the total number of days is going to be initialized to 0. And then we're going to have a for loop. And we're going to start at 1800, the year 1800. We're going to continue while we're less than the year, and then I++. So we're looping over every year up until the current year. So inside here we're adding to the total. So if the year is a leap year, and that year is going to be I, total plus equals 366. Otherwise, total plus equals 365. Whoops, not 265, 365. So the total so what we're working at is the total number of days that have passed since January 1st, 1800. So now we've done the years. All that is remaining is to do the months leading up to this year. So for int I equals 1, I less than month, I++, total plus equals get number of days in the month. So the year is going to be this year, and I is going to be the month. And then we can finally return the total. So that's how we worked out the total number of days. So now when we run this, we'll get something happening. It still won't be quite right. So that was returning 0 now instead of 1. So what we need to do next is figure out whether it's a leap year. So just to make sure this is working, let's enter a different month. Yep, it's changing based on the month. However, it's not correct because we've hard-coded whether that day was a leap year. And we've also hard-coded the total number of days in the month. So what we need to do now is figure out whether it is a leap year. And there's a simple formula for this. And I'm going to copy and paste it and then talk about it. So, if the year that we're in is cleanly divisible by 400, in other words, if the remainder from doing a division by 400 is 0, then yes, it is a leap year. If it's not divisible by 400, well, we can check if the year is divisible by 4 and the year is not divisible by 100. That's how we work out whether it's a leap year. So that's a formula that's very well known, and we can look at this whenever we want. All that's remaining now is to get the total number of days in the month. Now, you remember that January has 31, February has 28 or 29, depending on whether it's a leap year. March has 31, April has 30, May has 31, June has 30, July and August both have 31, and so on. So we can work this out very, very easily. And so I'm going to copy and paste this code because there's nothing special in it. I promise. Oops, wrong code. This is what happens when I get copy and paste happy. Here we go. So I'll correct the indentation. Okay, so the month is so January, March, May, July, August, November, December, return 31. If it's not February, return 30. If the month equals 2, return 29 or 28 based on whether it was a leap year. Okay, we're finally there. We've implemented all the problems. So now let's run this for this month and we'll see if we're correct. Okay, so that's what our output gives us. And if we look at this, we can see that this is exactly right. November 2011. We've started our calendar from Sunday instead of Monday, but you can see that the starting day is Tuesday, which is what we have. 30, 30. Everything is working just fine. So with that, we've finally implemented that method. And the way we did it was by breaking it down into smaller and smaller problems, implementing the function, putting kind of default functionality or stubs in for all the methods, and then filling out the details as we needed to get our program working. So just to summarize, what we did in this video was a top-down approach. We started off with the high-level problem, which was simply to get the month and year from the user and print the calendar out. That was the high-level problem, and then we slowly broke this down into smaller and smaller problems. And each of these problems, each of these things that we needed to solve became a method. And the way we went about bringing the program together was to create method stubs to get the program running, and then complete the implementation of each method until we finally had the program working correctly. The advantage of this is it makes developing large problems easier to manage, because this program ended up being quite complicated. You know, there's quite a bit going on in here, but we started off with something easy. Just print the month. And then to do that, we knew that we needed to print the month title and print the month body. And then we go further and further and down until we finally had everything working. So with that, that's it for this video. Sorry it was a long one, but we had a lot to get through. Thanks a lot.